I'm going to show you how to create a real app containing fragments in Android Studio. Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Abbas and welcome to Master Android channel. And we will continue the course called the Complete Android Developer course. So if this is your first time here, please ensure that you subscribe below, hit the bell, and to get notified with every tutorial and every update we make every day. So in this course, we will continue in Fragments and build a real app that you will understand and master the concept of fragments. We have finished studying our fragments lessons. Now, let's anchor this knowledge by creating a real fragment app. Hello developers, this lesson will help you to understand the contents of fragments and how they work. So let's start by creating a real app that contains fragments. First of all, open Android Studio and start new project. I will make a fast summary and a fast lesson. So we jump directly to Android Studio and create these steps. These steps you will see in next couple of minutes. Stay tuned, hit subscribe, and you will get the next complete apps and real apps every day. We are making everyday contents, everyday lessons. My team, I'm making a very good content every day. Every day is we have an upload. So first of all, open Android Studio and start new project. Second of all, make a main activity holding two fragments, text fragment and menu fragment. Here we have designed and making a fragment, inserting two fragments inside the layout of the main activity. Assigning the classes for them. First one is called fragment number 1 and fragment number 2 is the second. Now let's create our first fragment and name it fragment number 1. We have fragment number 1 here containing the text, two texts, and making the view, inflating the layout, and text views and returning its view. And we have a void, a public void change method that will change the text every when the user click the an item from the next or the adjacent list view. Now we have in fragment number 1 two text. The first one is Android app ID and text view. The second one is called description. Now let's create another fragment called fragment number 2. Open it. This is fragment number 2 containing the first string array called Android apps, and here we have description of our app, our text or titles. The second one is description for the titles we have made before. So we have created two string arrays. The first one Android app and the second one is called descriptions. On create view, we are going to view inflator, and it's making a new adapter, passing the data between the Android apps, which is the code source or the data source, to the layout called using the layout simple list item 1, which is a default and built-in layout in Android Studio. And on list item click, we are going to change the position and Android apps changing the text whenever the user click another text in the second or the adjacent fragments. Now let's move to its layout and put the next code, which is a list view. Just making a list view inside the fragment number 2. And we don't miss to add the menu fragment display a list view. As we see here, the layout of list view is default simple list item 1, opposed to the custom layout we have created for the list view in the previous article. The main activity invokes the set content view from the content or on the create method, so that it is. The fragments are called from the XML file. Alternatively, we can add the fragments from the activity using frag manager as shown in the snippet below. Get fragment manager, begin transaction, adding, then committing. Here we have the ID, a fragment parent view group belongs to the frame layout shown below. And here we go. This is the frame layout of the main activity. Run the app and see the result. We are going to build an app that looks like this. So congrats, we have created an amazing app that contains the fragments. So keep us making free tutorials and apps. Just subscribe to our channel, rate us 5 stars on Master Android, Master Android Pro, and Master Flutter. Comment and like on our YouTube videos and download Master Android Pro. So let's move to the lesson to Android Studio and see how to make a real app containing fragments. The next lessons we are going to use fragments inside is called View Pager. Now let's go to Android Studio and see how fragments work. First of all, create a new project in Android Studio. Choose the blank activity or empty activity, and we will change it to Frag App as its name, and waiting for Android Studio to configure building. Now this is our project, and first of all we want to edit the activity main XML. So we need to remove the text view, and inside our constraint layout we are going to create the two fragments layout, so they are placed here and contained inside the main activity layout. So in this way we are making and linking the fragment layout from another place that we are going to create later on in this video inside our main activity layout. So in order to do that, we are going to create a fragment and getting the package name here. So and assigning the class for this fragment to our package name, and we are going to create fragment number 1. Don't worry, this is the error here. We are going to solve it later on in this video, next couple of minutes, and going to put the ID of this fragment as fragment number 1. And I'm going to give this fragment a layout weight. Okay, everything is going good. We have an error here telling us that fragment number 1 is not exist. Don't worry, I'm going to make it soon. Now I'm going to create another instance of fragment, the same as before, but here I'm going to change the class from fragment number 1 to fragment number 2. So I'm going to put the package name of my app, okay, this is the fragment number 2, and I'm going to give it the ID as fragment number 2. Everything is working fine. Now let's move and create the two fragments inside Java coding. Here what I do in this activity layout. I'm just linking the fragments layout inside these two fragments inside the layout. So these are our fragments. I will configure them later on before running the app. So first of all, I'm going to create these fragments, fragment number 1 and fragment number 2. First of all, we'll go to Java, new, and fragment, and select the blank fragment. I will name it as fragment number 1, and deselect the include fragment factory method, include interface callbacks. Don't use these. Uncheck these boxes. This is the fragment. Number 1 is solved. The class is solved here. So I'm going to close everything, and I'm going to create another fragment called fragment number 2. Okay, and this in the same way I deselect the two methods, callback methods, and fragment pulled in, and here we go. These are our fragments. Fragment number 2, also the same. So let's go deep and dive into fragment number 1, Java code. This is the fragment code. We have its public constructor, and we have on create view. So as we see in the as we saw in the template, the presentation and the lesson, we have these blank activities and blank fragments, and these are the methods found inside the fragment. I'm going to remove the text view and make here a text view match parent or wrap content, and here is also the wrap content. Remember, these lessons, written lessons, are available to download in Master Android app found on Play Store, and Master Android Pro apps available on Play Store. So go to Play Store, download them, and rate us 5 stars. We are helping, and we helped more than 1 million persons to learn Android. So don't be late. Just go and download the apps. Subscribe below if you want to learn exactly and become the pro in Android app development. So we are going to put everything and make everything we have learned into video tutorials and lesson tutorials. What I'm doing here, I'm just making text views inside our fragment layout. So don't miss to subscribe below, hit the like, comment below if you have any questions, any doubt, anything you need to help you inside your projects, or any concept. Please comment below, and we are going to help you. Now we are making 2 text views, as I said, inside the fragment layout, and giving everyone the first one ID Android app, and the second one description ID. This is good. Now let's instantiate and declare these variables and these widgets. So first of all, text view, I'm just going to declare these 2 text views. I'm naming the first one text, and the second one is verse. This abbreviation for virgins. So I'm returning the view here. I'm going to remove these methods and making inside the onCreate view, as we said, what is this method and what's its importance. So a view inflator.inflate r.layout.fragment number one. So what is the layout we are going to inflate? We are going to inflate fragment number one. So I'm saying inflator, go and inflate fragment number one inside the container and attach to root equal to false. Now I'm just declaring the text views. So text view equal text view dot find view by id dot r dot id dot Android app. Another text view also is called verse. Text view dot find view by id r dot id dot description. So I'm going to make the app that when the user click on any item, the description is displayed in another fragment inside the main layout. So just one thing, I'm going to create a public void change method. So what this method make, this method is we pass two strings. The first one is text and the second one is text number one. So this method will replace or set the text views inside our app to a new text that we are going to define here. So text is setting the text and the verse is setting the text as text number one. I'm going to pass two strings inside this method in fragment number one. So we have completely done by fragment number one. Let's dive into fragment number two. Here we go. This is the fragment number two. And fragment number two, I am extending it from list fragment. And I'm going to declare a string array having my list of strings as an array. So string array called Android apps equal new string array, and I'm going to put here the strings that I'm using to be displayed to the user in the fragment number two. So the user, whenever click in fragment number one, the fragment number two display these strings. So I'm going to create two string arrays. The first one is Android apps and the second one is description. The first one displays the title and the second one display the description of this and the version of this app. So master Android app, master Android Pro, master Flutter, master Kotlin are all our apps available to download on Play Store. So go to Play Store, download one of them or all and see our projects, and please rate us 5 stars. Subscribe to our channel to make sure that you don't miss anything from Android tutorials. So we are done by this string array. The second string array I'm going to make is called description. So these are the description string array that the user, when the user click on one of the items in fragment number one, the fragment number two will display text and title as a title in from the string array called Android apps, and a second text in string called description in the string array called descriptions. Now I am assigning the first title to our master Android app. Really over 900,000 users with a rating 4.7. Go to Play Store and check it by yourself. We have helped around 1 million people, 1 million person to learn Android. So go to Play Store and download them. We have a pro version, so if you like our projects and you want to donate and support us, you can go to Play Store and download Master Pro app. Now the third line is called Master Flutter. It is also an amazing app that you can learn Flutter with a rating 4.8. Also, we are helping people to learn Flutter and Kotlin in Master Kotlin. Just waiting to make the texts and the strings for assigning this text for the description string array. So if you have any questions, any tutorials you want us to make, any doubt, any whatever you want, any question, you can list it in the comments below, so you can get the answer from our team. Don't worry, we help many people, so don't be shy. Ask in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel to get latest tutorials. Okay, so here we go. I'm just removing the spaces, and here we are going to link the two string arrays with the fragment container and the fragment layout with the fragment number 1. So in order to do that, we are going to create a view object equal inflator.inflate r.layout.fragment number 2, just assigning and declaring that we need to display in the fragment number 2 a fragment layout called fragment number 2 layout. Now attached to root will be a false. All these concepts are lectured and illustrated before. I'm going to make an array adapter passing strings as their type, and I'm naming it as adapter. So what does this array adapter do? Exactly, adapter, as we said before, is just getting the data from strings or data source from strings or arrays, database, or whatever you need, and passing them to the view, and the complex view, advanced view that we are going to make. So in this case, we are passing the array adapter. Our array adapter is passing the data taken from Android apps, a list of view or strings, string arrays, and passing them to a list view with having a default layout called simple.list item number 1. and then setting the list adapter to our adapter. So in summary, we are making an adapter. This adapter will pass the data from the string arrays called Android apps towards the list view, having a default list or view called simple list item number 1. If you have any problem with list views, please go to list view lessons and check them to master their concepts. Now we are adding on list item click. So when the user click the item in fragment number 1, what will happen in fragment number 2 will be changed. Yes. So I'm making an instance of fragment called text, getting the fragment number 1, and text change calling the method called Android apps and their position, plus the version will be also description arrays and position. So amazing, I'm doing well, everything is going to work fine, getting the list view and setting the adapter and setting the selector to android.r.color.hollow, let's see, hello blue, okay, so hello blue. Now everything is working fine. We have coded fragment number 1 and fragment number 2, and let's design the fragment number 2 layout. So the fragment 2 layout would have a list that will display all items in one side or in one list. So the list view will have the width as match parent and height wrap content, and its ID would be Android at ID list. Okay, this is good. We have created a list in the fragment number 2, and we have created 2 texts inside fragment number 1. Now I'm going to link these fragments and make the code making transitions. Remember, fragments means transitions. So get support fragment manager inside our onCreate method, and inside the main activity would be mandatory to be declared in order to transition and begin transaction between the fragments. So get support fragment manager method dot begin transaction and add fragment ID fragment number 1 to new fragment number 1. In this way, we are passing the fragments and using the fragments manager, fragment transactions, and then committing the changes. Now, let's go to main activity and make some changes for our fragments layout. I'm deleting all constraints and just adjusting the views and the fragments sizes and width. So I'm using fragment number 2 here, making them its constraint and making it as match parent, and the width is 140, which is good for a list. or displaying the content. And here we go. I am just adjusting the fragments layout inside the main activity. Let's hit run. But before, maybe I'm missing some of codes. Maybe let's check the arrays that we have created before. So let's go back and see, and adjusting the layout for. So I'm thinking that the arrays are the problem. So it's working very good, and we have to adjust some of the layout problems. I'm going to adjust the fragment number 1, fragment number 2. The fragment number 1 would contain the 2 fragments. Now, just making the text and the description text fit, ensuring them to fit inside the layout, and changing the text color to black. Converting the frame layout to a constraint layout, which will facilitate the work on us and the coding process. So designing process would be easier using the constraint layouts, like just to as you see, they are very easy to configure and to edit these text views. You can edit them later on, whatever you need. Now these fragments and descript, just to ensure and change the description. I'm to here to description and into two brackets into position to get the position and the version description as depicted before. Now let's run and see. Everything would be work fine. I'm clicking the master Android, and here we go. The title and the description is working very good. So just to make some changes. Now go to Play Store, download Master Android and Master Android Pro to get the lessons written and well written and designed and ordered in Master Android Pro and Master Android app. So thank you guys. I hope you go to Master Android channel and subscribe to get latest tutorials and daily uploads of Android tutorials and Flutter tutorials and other coding tutorials with Android, Windows, tricks, and whatever you need. Thank you guys. See you in next videos.